Hello everyone and welcome to my first look at a title that is currently on Greenlight called Race the Sun by Flipfly Studios. This is a game that will be a little bit easier to explain once we're in it, but just as a quick description, essentially this is a procedurally generated landscape that changes each day along the line of a Splunky daily challenge. But the map layout stays the same for everyone throughout the day, allowing you to score attack it as many times as you want, trying to put up the highest score you can. There are various power-ups that you can get throughout the game. So far I've unlocked 2. There is a leveling system that provides you the ability to unlock more as you go on. So far it hasn't been anything too major, but it has been enough where, like I unlocked a boost that helps out a lot and a jump pretty early on. So your goal here is to fly this ship and collect as many of these little things called tries here that you can. Now your ship is solar powered, so you need to stay in the sunlight. If you stay in the shade too long, then you will lose power and be unable to continue because your ship will run out of energy and stop. So your goal is simply to keep going as, there is the normal Norden appearance, because why not? But yeah, your goal is to keep going as long as you can to build up your score. Shortly into the leveling system, you unlock the multiplier aspect, which means that for each 5 tries that you get, you up your multiplier by 1, and that allows you to obviously gain more points without having to go significantly farther. Now this is very momentum based in terms of the controls. So we're going to jump while we pick up a second jump. And then we'll hit this boost on the way in. Whoop. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, your goal here is to simply collect as much as you can and keep going as long as you can. As you see, as we move on through the regions, I'm not sure how many there are in a single run, but at least so far we're on region 2. And as you see, not only does the maneuvering that you need get more intense, which as you gain more momentum makes it much harder, but also there are more shadows that appear, which means you have to be more careful of where you're lining your ship up unless you want to risk ending up without energy. So we are going to start back up at the start here. So, what was I going to say here? The game becomes a huge game of balance, really. Whoa. Yeah, we might not be doing very well on this run. Just saying. So these yellow pickups, the boosts, are very important. What they do is they essentially turn back time. So if you look on the horizon there, which is very nicely visible due to the graphical choice, you see the sun up in the sky. As you progress further along, and as time goes on, the sun is going to get progressively lower in the sky. This is going to put you in a position where you are getting longer shadows, as well as getting less energy in general. So, what you need to do, in order to prevent yourself from just having the sun set all the way, and end up with no energy, is to kind of focus on not just picking up the tries, but hitting any of the boosts that you see, because if you don't, then you're going to run into a situation where, oh, I got myself trapped in this little gauntlet again. I probably could have gone to the left of that, just barely. Use jump ability 10 times. Complete. Unlock level 5. Magnet ship attachment. You equip this attachment to grab pickups and tries from a distance. Awesome. So we are going to, and we actually got 4 boosts in one region, so let's go to configure ship here, and we might as well add on the magnet. There's no reason not to. As you see, my all-time high score is 218,238. And so let's restart here now that we have the magnet, and we've got a few new objectives going on. Each time you level up or each time you complete an objective, you get new ones. So now we can be a little bit out of the way of these things and we'll still pick them up. So obviously a lot of this comes down to, in part, the more you play for a day, the more competent you're going to be at the layout of the current course. But there's also the fact that you just need to gain an aptitude with the controls. As mentioned, it's very much a momentum-based control system, so you know if you are going very fast, it is going to take you much more space to curve than it would if you're going slower. That was really stupid. Like right here, where we're just starting after that collision, I can move very simply. But now that I hit this boost, I can't move nearly as simplistically. Whee! Flying with the bird. So yeah, it is definitely a very challenging game, in the sense that you are kind of constantly forced to adjust your play to account for different situations, to account for different, ooh, hit the wall, but we survived, that's good. There's a boost over here that I would like to pick up and then crash immediately into a wall. So yeah, there is definitely an aspect of not just, you know, learning the layout of the levels, but also of getting yourself accustomed to controls and a skill-based element that allows you to go further. Excuse me. You know, when I first out, admittedly I didn't have the boost unlocked, so it was harder to go far. But at the same time, I was having a lot of runs and very early just from crashing into stuff and destroying my ship. As I've gone on, I've gotten much better about that, although it's not showing well now that I'm talking over it, which always makes games a good tick more difficult than what they are naturally. But it does have a skill element where you need to know how to move your ship in order to accomplish your goals, and what is within reach and what isn't. You know, there was that boost off to the left over there. Oop, got myself distracted. There was a boost off to the left where you could see the pillar of light that shines up into the sky from it, but there was no way we were going to be able to adjust our ship's course enough in that short of time in order to reach it. So there's a huge element of learning the controls of the ship and learning what it takes in order to prevent yourself from crashing. So this is a game that I think I could see myself and others spending a lot of time with, that you can easily get kind of lost in just having that one more try type of mentality, where you always feel like you can get a better score if you try again. And that's an awesome thing to have in a game like this, because without it, you know, maybe you play the run for once in a day, you don't like how the layout is, and then you decide not to play it anymore that day. Instead, it's much more of a, well, I've played this once, and I think I can do better if I play again. Oop. And of course there are leaderboards, which I can take a look at shortly here. I don't know why I just wasted that jump, or moved out of the way of that boost, because that would have been real useful. The sun is getting kind of low. So we're going to keep going here and trying our best to... Oh, God. Nope, can't fit through the side there. So yeah, if we go to our main menu here, we can look at options. No, that's not how you get there. Where was I? There we go, leaderboards. There. So yeah, this will show you the leaderboards. As you can see, the top score for today has almost 22 million points, followed up by a 6 million point second place. And you can scroll down these at your will until you get down to whatever score you're looking for. You can look through previous days as well. It seems like the person who was in first today has been pretty consistently in first, which is kind of a sign that they are a very good player. So yeah, also, as I mentioned, this game is on Greenlight currently, looking to get onto Steam. I will put the link to the Greenlight in the description, obviously, as well as I will be putting the link to the developer's website, where you can purchase this game off the Humble Store for $10. And that will be, those will both be linked in the description. This is not an easy game to talk over, I won't lie. It is kind of something that requires your concentration in order to think ahead. Because if you don't think ahead, then you're going to be finding yourself crashing into things far more often than I have, even in this video so far. But we're still doing, I guess, not too bad. We haven't reached Section 3 where it gets really insane yet. But we are doing decently well so far. Oop. Of course I say that right as I run into something. And so yeah, I should also add that I love the music and the art style of this game. They definitely, the art style is striking without being too much. It is something that I could look at for hours without feeling like it was a bad thing to be looking at, while at the same time also being very much everything that's important blatantly visible. You see the sun in the distance there. When you're looking at your ship, you can see that very clearly. Awesome, we got that boost just in time. Well, not just in time, but and then we crashed into a wall. But yeah, you can easily see where your situation and where your important factors are. Yeah, at the same time, it still looks very pretty in its own right. It's one of the advantages of a color scheme like this, especially in a game based around light. The lighter gray tones and the white tones obviously symbolize the light, whereas the darker gray and the blacks symbolize the shadows. So it does make everything nice and clear where you can see exactly what's going on at any given point, which is very important for a game that requires kind of split-second reaction times and the kind of planning that this game requires. Also, of course, the boosts, as I pointed out earlier, have those shining pillars of light coming out of them, as well as the jump power-ups, which means that you are easily able to tell from a distance where they are, as the color of them strikes out quite clearly from in a stark contrast to the white and gray tones that are making up the rest of the visuals. So it does allow you to plan ahead much better than you would otherwise be able to do in a situation where it wasn't quite so bleakly colored. And the graphics in their own right look very, very good. So there is absolutely nothing to complain about from a visual standpoint. Sound design is also very, very good. I have found myself loving the music in this game so far. I wish I had a jump right now. Okay, we actually made it through there for once. Now we have to do it again. Got it. Okay, we actually survived that twice, which is honestly probably more than I ever have before without a jump. So we're going to keep going as long as we can here. Let us go ahead and jump our way out of that, because that makes things a lot easier. So my thoughts on this game are extremely positive overall. I can't really think of anything really negative to say about this. So far I have found nothing but an enjoyable experience on this game, and I think that's not something that's going to change. So I do highly recommend you pick it up from the developer's site on Humble, as I mentioned earlier. Of course, if you are unable to get games that are on Steam, please go and put a vote in for it on Greenlight. That will of course help the developer out in terms of potential market, as well as to help you out in terms of being able to get the game. So it's a win-win situation if you enjoy what you're seeing to go vote for this on Greenlight. It is a game that I will recommend 100 times out of 100. It's challenging, it's fun, it's simple enough where you can sit down and play a few runs just for the fun of it. And we might actually make it to Region 4, which is the farthest I've ever made it before. But the sun is just about set, so unless this is a boost, we're in trouble. It is a boost. Awesome. So we're now in Region 4, but we don't have long to go until we are out of sunlight. In fact, if we don't find a boost here very soon, we are done. Although getting a jump allows us to get higher in the sky and hence get more sunlight. That is another jump, so we're going to use it right away to try to get as much sun as we can, and we are almost out of power here. So this is going to be it for us. Let's see where our score ranked. We ended up with 243, 343, which is going to put me at current rank 72. So not that great, but not that bad either, I would say. Let me take a look real quick. This has been a relatively short video, so we are going to keep going. There is a button there to share your score to Twitter or Facebook if you so choose, which is a nice touch. In a lot of games, I do find those kind of buttons kind of redundant and kind of trying to push marketing, but in a game that's so blatantly score attack like this, it does make sense to have them there. You know, there are a lot of games where they put that kind of thing in there, even though score attacking isn't really the purpose of the game. It's just something that people who want to play for competition can do. And in that respect, those people, I mean, the people who are, if you want to put in the share button, that's one thing, but it does seem kind of a little bit less useful when it is something not based entirely on score attacking. Whereas that's exactly what this game is based on, is trying to get as far as you can with the highest score you can. And so I do find like this is a good use of it. I don't know why I just used that jump there, but oh well. I think it's because I had an objective for a while that was to get as many jumps as possible. So we got 3. So our starting multiplier has been increased to ×2. That's real good. So what's our new objective here going to be? Collide with 6 objects and reach a 15 times multiplier and clear 4 regions in a round. Well, we got to region 4 in a round once before. So yeah, I'm going to keep playing this for a little while. This video is still on the short side, and this might be something that you see more of on the channel. I'm not entirely sure, just because it is something that is kind of, or what am I looking for here? It is something that is kind of hard to talk over. It's definitely something that is a little bit more difficult than your average game to focus on while you're playing and while you're doing commentary. But at the same time, I feel like this also makes it a real good game for recording, in terms of the actual gameplay and your ability to talk just about anything, since you can't really describe what's going on any better than people can see it. So I do kind of want to do at least a few more episodes of this from time to time. Maybe not a consistent series like Spelunky where it's, you know, once a day for so long. But at the same time, I think that it would be wise to continue playing this on the channel from time to time. Let's just jump over the majority of this. So, it will be back, almost guaranteed. I'm just not sure in what quantity. The other thing, of course, with recording it is that most of these runs are pretty short. So, the more that you spend recording it, or the longer the recording goes, the more times people are seeing kind of the same thing over and over again. Which is one thing if you're playing, because then you're learning and trying to do better at the level. But if you're just watching, I could see maybe the fact that the level is the same not being quite as entertaining as it could be if it was different every time. I should also add that there are player worlds that you can download. People can upload their own worlds to the system and allow you to play through alternate levels on a given day that people have made. So that's something I haven't actually checked out yet that we could jump into before this video is over. I almost forgot to mention that, and I almost forgot that I wanted to show it off while we were on here too. I did spend a bit more time with this game before starting the recording than I normally do, because I knew that this was the kind of game where if you don't know what you're doing, it's going to be very difficult to actually show off in any decent respect. So I did play for a while. That's why I started a decently, maybe not high level, but a decently good level of stats. That was a good time to jump because we picked up another jump as we did. And we will continue going through here. But yeah, I actually practiced this one instead of giving my very first impressions, because I definitely knew that this was not the type of game where first impressions are necessarily the best. You need kind of some experience. You know, the first probably 20 or 30 minutes I spent with the game was kind of the tutorialization, which the first few levels are used for, in which you sorry, this is one of the more difficult parts. Oh. But yeah, there was kind of, they use the levels early on as kind of a tutorialization of sorts, which are allowing you to take a look at the aspects of the game one at a time. You know, at first it showed off just the basic controls and everything, and then you unlock the boost ability, so you were able to survive longer by way of putting the sun higher in the sky. And then eventually you would unlock the... Oh god! I did not see that coming. Nice. So now we need to travel a distance of 30,000 in the air and score 100,000 points in a round. That should be easy enough. And that should get us another level when we get either of those. But yeah, so essentially what I was going for there is that, you know, the first when you start out, you just got your basic movement. You've got your left and right movement, and you're collecting tries. And you got a couple of pretty simple objectives that are going to get you started on the path of completing those. But as a whole, you are focusing mostly on learning the basic controls. Once you've been in that for a while, you learn that, or you unlock the boost after a few levels, which allows you to, as mentioned, put the sun higher in the sky, put yourself in a position where you can survive for longer, and hence get a higher score. Oops, I just wasted my jump because I thought that I was going to pick that one up. And then after, you know, a couple levels with the boost, or maybe it was even only, maybe it was even only a level with the boost, you got, what was it? You got the jump, and you learned about the action button, where if you press spacebar, you would jump when you had the power up. And then I think the next level after that was the multiplier, where if you collect 5 tries, you get a multiplier level up. So, you know, the game does treat its early levels as kind of a tutorialization without holding your hand about it, but by introducing new mechanics slowly as you go through your early runs of the game. I'm going to pick that one up because we do have that objective to get a lot of airtime. So we do want to jump as often as we can. But yeah, I really like actually how that is tutorialized. It's not just, you know, do a tutorial base level. It's do this level and we'll introduce new mechanics as you play through a few rounds. And that is a very good way to handle tutorialization. You know, it kind of reminds me as... excuse me, I don't know why my voice is getting so messy here. But it kind of reminds me in a way of the Dark Souls tutorialization. For those of you who have played that, it's going to give you how to use each power, but it's also going to introduce different things slowly as you go through the area, the tutorial area, and let you kind of figure out how to use them on your own, which is a wonderful way to handle tutorials without hand-holding, but with some level of encouragement to know what's going on. I am not doing all that great right now, but I did accomplish score 100,000 points in a round. Fly into a world portal to visit a different game world and return after one region. That sounds really cool. I am interested in what that does. So I guess we are going to keep going on here until we find one of these world boosters, or these world portals. I'm not entirely sure what they look like. Obviously I got a hint from the way it looked on that screen, but... And that's another thing that I really love about this, is because of the leveling system, it doesn't really give people who have played it more often an advantage, but it does give you constantly changing mechanics where you have more and more stuff to learn about as you play through the game. And that is something that is a wonderful touch in order to keep the game being playable for a long time. Ooh, that was close. I missed that boost over there because I went the wrong way to begin with. So yeah, the introduction of new mechanics is something that I really like to see. It's nothing, you know, game-breaking like the magnet that we unlocked earlier, or the boost and the jump are definitely game-changing mechanics. But once again, those early levels are more of a tutorial than a point where you're supposed to be putting up high scores. So it's understandable for those to be unlocked quickly, but still need to be unlocked. But then as you go on, it doesn't just, you know, give you the basics and then say go. It always keeps adding things to kind of change the experience a little bit. And that's a very good thing for it to do. If you can't tell, I really do love this game so far. Whether it's on camera or not, I can see myself trying to play this for at least a while each day to score attack any given round that comes up. So it's definitely something that I highly recommend. As mentioned before, if you can't get it on Humble, drop it a vote on Greenlight, because they could definitely use the support there. Especially if Greenlight keeps being in a position where they are pushing through games much faster as they did in that last batch. You know, every little vote helps to get those games up toward the point where they'll be considered for being greenlit. And so, even if you don't know if you'll enjoy it or not, still stop by and give it a green light vote. It's not going to hurt anyone else, and it's going to help the developers of a game that I think it should be clear why a lot of people will enjoy. I'm going to jump to pick up that boost because it's one of our objectives. We also get another jump. Now this area I have kind of gotten much better at because I learned how to handle it. That's another thing. You get these obstacles that you learn how to handle as you go through the game more times, and that allows you to be more proficient at the game. So you're going to slide through here. We're going to get this boost, which is all important. I am on the lookout for one of those world portals. I would like to see what those do. Oh man. Also, I should say that you have a lot more control when you're jumping, it appears. It even says when you get the jump level that when you're jumping it makes it easier to move laterally at a given point. So it's definitely something to make sure that you know, is that if you use jump, it's not just for the boost into the sky over obstacles or to get more sun. It also allows you kind of a little bit better... Oh, I saw a world portal and didn't get to it. That's unfortunate. It also allows you to get a better control of your ship for a brief while, which can be absurdly helpful. Oh god. Oh, right into the wall. Let's see. We are almost at the distance. The air distance one. So we're going to do, let's say, one more video on this. One more run in this video. Overall thoughts on the game. This is a very ingenuitive game that I have been enjoying immensely. The levels being randomly generated, or I guess I should say procedurally generated, the proper term for it, each day, is something that will allow for a lot of replayability. Every day that you try to play through, it's going to be a little bit different of a world. And that is, of course, one of my favorite things in games these days, is to have that variation between runs. So I'm very happy to see that it seems like something that could very much have drastically different runs each day. Similarly, you've got the situation where you are trying to keep an eye out for so many things. The graphical aesthetic is wonderful. The audio, the music I should say, as well as the sound design I should add, in terms of the ship noises and everything, are all very well done. I can't speak highly enough about that aspect of the game. I think I missed that boost, unfortunately. I kind of want to get that, collect 3 boosts in a run to see what our next level is, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to on that one. But yeah, so there's a lot to like about this game. And I don't think there's really anything to say against it that I can think of offhand. It might not be everyone's style of game. I know there are some people out there who don't really enjoy these kind of endless score attack games. You prefer something with a more level by level approach, and I understand that. So if you are like that, I could see you not really enjoying the game as much. But if you're at all into score attacking and competitive playing games, this is definitely something that is a very well put together system for such a thing. Oh god. Nope, there we go, crashed into a wall. And we did unlock that. We didn't get 3 boosters in the air, unfortunately, though, so we didn't get another level. So yeah, thank you all for looking at this quick look here at Race the Sun. As mentioned, the developer's website where you can purchase this on Humble, as well as the Greenlight link will both be in the video description. If you enjoyed what you saw at all, take a look on Greenlight, give it an upvote. It could definitely use the help. And yeah, support the developers if you're interested and pick up the game. Like I said, it's only $10, and I think it is more than worth the value of the game. So yeah, with that, I will thank you guys all for watching, and I will see you on probably another episode of this at some point. Definitely another episode of something by tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. Have a good one.